All right, welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into the sheer athleticism, the high-stakes drama, and the massive history of the world's biggest sporting stage. We're on a literal mission here to discover the DNA of the perfect goal. I mean, what actually makes a strike truly unforgettable, right? And how has the art of scoring evolved over almost a century of play? We're going to break down the anatomy of a Wondergoal, decoding 92 years of World Cup magic, all the way from the heavy, muddy pitches of the 1930s to the pristine, lightning-fast arenas of today.
Now, to do this properly, we aren't just looking at a handful of standard highlight reels. No way. We're breaking down a massive, carefully curated master list of exactly 220 of the absolute greatest goals across 22 tournaments. So we're spanning all the way from the very first 1930 competition in Uruguay right through to the 2022 tournament in Qatar. That is a seriously enormous sample size of pure footballing brilliance, which gives us the absolute perfect data set to analyze exactly how the spectacular is created on the pitch.
Instead of a dry chronological list, we're going to look at 5 distinct categories today. The mesmerizing solo slaloms, rockets and screamers, acrobatics and stunning volleys, masterpieces of team passing, and finally, moments that stopped time.
Let's jump right into Category 1, the mesmerizing solo slaloms.
The evolution of the solo run is just fascinating. It's that ultimate moment where a single player takes on an entire defense in a dazzling display of footwork, speed, and frankly, pure audacity. We start way back in 1930 with Argentina's Carlos Alberto, who really announced his team's attacking flair with a beautiful weaving solo run and finish against Mexico. Fast forward a bit to 1962, and we see Chile's Lionel slaloming right past defenders to rocket the ball home. But the undisputed peak of this category? That absolutely arrives in 1986. Diego Maradona's goal of the century saw him picking up the ball in his own half, leaving 3 English defenders completely bewildered and then firing it home. What makes this the absolute zenith is the sheer magnetic ball control he displayed while navigating a terrible, rutted pitch. I mean, it set a standard so incredibly high that players have been chasing it ever since, including Lionel Messi with his own weaving run and low curler against Bosnia in 2014.
You know, what's really amazing here is how history so often repeats itself. Just 8 years after Maradona's masterpiece, Saudi Arabia's Saeed Al-Awairan basically replicated that exact same magic. In 1994, playing against Belgium, he went on this astonishing marathon run from deep inside his own half. He literally sliced through the defense to score a goal that practically mirrored Maradona's genius. It just goes to show you that a truly great solo slalom is utterly timeless.
Moving right along, let's look at Category 2, rockets and screamers.
So deadball specialists have quite literally weaponized these long-range strikes over the decades. These aren't just powerful kicks, okay? They're basically scientific anomalies, manipulating physics in ways that completely baffle goalkeepers. In 1962, Brazil's Garrincha introduced the world to the swerving banana shot against England. By 1978, Peru's Teofilo Cubillas was unleashing a screaming 30-yard free kick against Scotland that left the keeper entirely helpless. Then you've got Ronaldinho's audacious looping free kick over David Seaman in 2002, and of course Toni Kroos saving Germany in 2018 with a last-minute bending strike right into the top corner.
But there's a really stark contrast between the early days of the tournament and the modern game. Back in the 1930s, we saw this muddy, raw power. That was totally exemplified by Guillermo Sabile's thumping near-post strike for Argentina. I mean, he was hitting a heavy, waterlogged leather ball on a rough patch of ground. Compare that to 2018 and France's Benjamin Pavard. His exquisite, swerving half-volley against Argentina is a direct product of modern aerodynamics. The shift from heavy leather to those synthetic, perfectly spherical modern balls made the physics of Pavard's swerve physically possible. It's this brilliant, fascinating evolution from brute force to highly technical, slicing precision.
Okay, Category 3, acrobatics and stunning volleys.
Now you might think acrobatics are a completely modern invention, but the historical data highlights some incredible early athleticism. Just look at this wild story from 1938. Brazil's Leonidas, who was appropriately known as the Rubber Man, somehow managed to score a goal against Poland with a rasping finish while entirely barefoot. Yeah, you heard that right. He had lost his boot in the muddy conditions, proving you really don't need the latest carbon fiber cleats when your spatial awareness and agility are just that elite.
This acrobatic lineage stretches beautifully across the decades. It requires an absolute, perfectly tuned mind-muscle connection to track a ball falling from the sky and strike it flawlessly midair before it ever even touches the grass. The progression here goes from a 17-year-old Pelé in the 1958 final, delicately flicking the ball over a defender with his chest and volleying it right into the corner, to James Rodriguez's stunning chest and volley winner for Colombia in 2014, and it all culminates in the sheer explosive athleticism of Brazil's Richarlison in 2022, scoring an outrageous scissors kick volley against Serbia. Striking a ball perfectly while practically upside down, that is a physical marvel.
Let's shift gears to Category 4, Masterpieces of Team Passing.
When 11 players operate on the exact same wavelength, we get the fluid choreography of one of the most famous goals in history. Carlos Alberto's iconic strike for Brazil in the 1970 final against Italy. See, it wasn't just a great shot. It was an 8-touch team goal. It started deep in the Brazilian half, flowed effortlessly through the midfield, and arrived at Pelé, who executed this perfectly weighted, blind layoff into empty space. That telepathic understanding between teammates allowed Carlos Alberto to come storming down the right flank and provide a thunderous finish. It brilliantly shows how the entire squad moves as one living, breathing organism.
26. That is the staggering number of consecutive passes that led to Esteban Cambiaso's flawless team goal for Argentina against Serbia and Montenegro in 2006. 26 passes. Imagine how utterly demoralizing that is for the opposition. They were literally left chasing shadows for nearly a full minute as Argentina probed, waited, shifted the defense side to side, and maintained total concentration until the absolute perfect gap opened up for the finish. Just incredible discipline.
And this brilliant tradition of collective perfection absolutely continues today. We saw it in the 2022 final with Angel Di Maria's goal for Argentina against France. It was a sublime, sweeping team move starting from the back, utilizing lightning-fast, one-touch passing that completely dismantled the French defense, ending with Di Maria's perfectly placed first-time finish. The speed and tactical execution of that sequence were just at the absolute highest level.
Which brings us to our final category, number 5, moments that stop time.
Now we have to examine the goals that transcend the sport itself. These are the strikes that anchor themselves to deep historical emotion. Just contrast two incredible extremes here. First, you have the eerie, crushing silence created when Uruguay's Alcides Giguia struck a low, near-post winner against Brazil in the 1950 final. He famously broke the hearts of 200,000 fans inside the Maracanã Stadium, an event so traumatic for the host nation it actually has its own name, the Maracanazo. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, you have the raw, unbridled joy of Italy's Marco Tardelli in 1982. After scoring a crisp shot from the edge of the box against West Germany, his screaming, tearful run with his fists clenched became the defining image of pure, sporting ecstasy.
These fleeting seconds of perfection become shared global memories, and they're immortalized forever by iconic broadcast calls that echo through history. They think it's all over. That was the legendary commentary as Geoff Hurst lashed a thumping drive into the net to clinch his hat-trick and the 1966 title for England against West Germany. The goal and the words spoken over it are permanently fused together in the minds of millions. It's just magic.
Having explored the anatomy of these historic masterpieces in our explainer today, from the weaving solo slaloms and thunderous long-range rockets to acrobatic volleys and intricate passing sequences, it leaves us with one thrilling thought to ponder. As tactical systems get more advanced, as players get even faster and stronger, and as the sport pushes into an entirely new era, what on earth is the next Wondergoal going to look like? Keep your eyes on the pitch, because history is always waiting to be written. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.